This video is in partnership with Moft. For the last couple weeks, I've legitimately swapped from using my Sony ZVE10 over to my iPhone 15 Pro. I know that sounds wild, but I can explain. And yes, my eyeballs are super red. I'm either really excited for this project or my toddler gave me pink eye. I'll let you decide. But for as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to create content. Even going back to high school, I'd write stupid videos with my friends that nobody would ever really watch. And I even went to college for filmmaking, but decided to drop out to pursue something I found a little bit more secure. But fast forward more than a decade, I find myself making some of my most favorite videos as a part-time content creator. Now, where it started for me is a couple years ago, I had a little bit of spare time and I really wanted to scratch my creative itch. And well, at that time, I had literally no gear except the iPhone in my pocket and some time, alongside some items I wanted to review. And while I can't deny there are limitations with the camera on a smartphone, I found myself getting a camera and constantly chasing gear and focusing less about my content and more around the technical gear stuff. And obviously, undeniably, a dedicated camera will be better than a smartphone, but it all depends on how you use it. And right now, I'm kind of excited to go back to my basics, which is just an iPhone. Technically, this should allow me to focus less on gear and more on my storytelling. And happily, over the last month, I've been filming on my iPhone 15 Pro for just about most of my projects, and while I've mainly been using my 15 Pro since launch, this specific video is actually filmed by a combination of the 14 Pro and 13 mini. These older iPhones didn't just suddenly become bad all of a sudden with the new launch. Now, I won't pretend like there's a lot of things I won't miss about having a camera, such as the durable body, swappable lenses, swappable batteries, SD cards, and all that other stuff. For me at least, my goal is still to get all of these, but with just my iPhone. Starting with a durable camera body, this definitely doesn't seem to be the year for durable iPhones, so I'll definitely be using a case. Right now, I'm using this Movas vegan leather case from Moft, which is not only protective, but actually feels great in hand. And of course, since I'm going to be using a whole ton of MagSafe accessories, this case at least has one of the strongest magnets I've ever used. I will talk more about my accessories in depth, but in short, I'll be using an SSD, some tripod accessories, as well as some wallet stands. Now, coming from my Sony ZVE10 to an iPhone, there's definitely a lot here to be missed, but the iPhone has also never been more capable. Especially with this year's iPhone 15 Pro model, it sort of just covers about everything. For lenses on my ZVE10, I've only got two lenses, which is my 16 to 35mm kit lens, as well as my 50mm f1.8 prime lens. On my 15 Pro, the ultra wide is 13mm, which will give me that wide coverage. The main sensor gives me 24, 28, and 35mm coverage, and that right there covers my kit lens. And recently, a lens I use a whole ton is that 50mm prime lens, which is covered by the telephoto lens on the iPhone, which gives me roughly 48 through 77mm coverage. So in my case, I'm absolutely set on lenses. Now, off the bat, one of the benefits to using an iPhone after swapping from a camera is that it allows me to be more creative with my shots since it is so much smaller. Whether I'm opening drawers, putting my camera into tight spaces, and other shots I can't typically get. And not only is the iPhone 15 Pro tiny, it only weighs 187 grams, and having a small MagSafe tripod makes things a hell of a lot easier when it does come down to shooting. Whether I'm shooting vertical content or horizontal, this is easily done with the MagSafe tripod from Moft. Since the new iPhone also shoots in a log profile as well, I have far more choices when it comes down to how I want my videos to look. Having shot in S-Log2 for so long on my Sony camera, this is easily one of my favorite features on the new iPhone 15 Pro. With this small tripod though, I can set up my A-roll, vlog, shoot macro, or just about any angle I need. If I do need more coverage and angles, I still have a smartphone attachment for my regular large tripod. Now, I did mention there would be some challenges going back to an iPhone from my ZVE10, and I know I'm covered for my lenses, but I still need to find a way to get back my monitoring, SD cards, as well as swappable batteries. Starting with the SD cards though, while it's not going to be exactly the same, iPhones can now shoot directly to an SSD, which is quite nifty for larger projects. Considering Apple log footage eats up a massive amount of storage, this is an absolute must-have. For me, my iPhone is only 256 gigs, so I ended up going with this 1TB Samsung T7 SSD. This gives me about 3 hours of constant external recording. I've also used 3M tape to attach this to the back of my Snap-on tripod, so I get this entire tiny setup, which is pretty dope. Sometimes I also just slot it through the center to use as a weight to keep things steady. When it does come down to monitoring though, I know I'm desperately going to miss that articulating screen on my Sony camera. To get around this though, I'm actually just using iPhone's mirroring feature, which allows me to get a full image displayed on my MacBook Pro. But when it does come down to swappable batteries, well, we already know that's not really possible with an iPhone. So the next best thing for me me is actually just using a MagSafe battery pack when you can. Apple did discontinue theirs unfortunately, but I have been using this one from Moft for about 6 months now. I don't use it to charge my phone primarily when filming, but rather to extend the battery life. By the time it runs out, I can just recharge it while filming with the iPhone battery alone. And I will say that one of the things I really did miss about using an iPhone is that it's just always with me. As somebody who's practicing cinematography as a craft in a whole, just having my iPhone with me at all times gives me the opportunity to get random shots I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. For myself, I don't carry my camera with me everywhere I go, and simply being able to prop up my mini tripod or wallet for a singular shot is nice. And I don't think I even really need a story in mind to do that. I also use the Creator Kit lanyard if out and about to stabilize my handheld shots. I learned this trick years ago from one of Andres Vidos's videos, kudos to him. When I am out and about though, it's been pretty sweet having easy access to my iPhone and snapping shots quickly with the action button. It's simple but legitimately effective. So for me at this point, the iPhone's actually a jack of all trades and a master of some. From allowing me to be more creative with my shots to also getting me down to 2 cards all the way from my fat dad wallet. It's a great way to capture memories or videos at a moment's notice and just about anything in between. And what I can say is that I'm actually really looking forward to not having to worry about f-stop and shutter speed and all of that. And it's just been a while since I've been able to slow down my shooting process. Just really being able to focus more on the project itself and less about the gear is almost freeing. And of course the iPhone's auto mode isn't really perfect and nothing really is. I don't think I'll just be sticking around with the iPhone forever since there's a whole lot more for me to learn. Either way, I am really excited. And truly, I think the best camera is the one we have in our pocket. Anyways, that's been it. Thanks again for watching till the end. Till next time.